All right, we're on. L'chaim, everyone, l'chaim. I want everyone just to pause for 1 second and think about someone you know who may need some help with something. Guys, I just have one request, please. Hello. One request, please. I love you all, and I want to hear from all of you, and I can't hear from you while I'm talking. So if you want to have, side for bringing this, I won't be offended. I promise you can take your food. You can go out back, you can decide. But when we're here, let's try to be together. And I want to hear what you want to say, but join, like make it a public forum. It's not a speech. It's not a lecture. For Reagan is where we all get together and we all share things. So if there's something on your mind, I want to hear about it. Let's talk about it together. And with God's help, we can make many special things happen. The world's in a pretty crazy state right now. And I don't know if anyone realizes how volatile things potentially are right now. I'm going to Eretz Yisrael on Sunday. And my mom sent me a message today. She goes, "Did you see this? It says America and England issued travel warnings to Israel. You need to check your itinerary." I'm like, "Yeah, I checked. Everything's fine." So it's a volatile time right now. There's crazy things going on, and everything stays in a perfect state of balance. And it says that a Hasidic Farbrengen, when we're all together as Jews, anything that we wish for or pray for can come true just from the fact of our unity together. So let's take a moment and think about one of your brothers, your sisters, one of our brothers and sisters in Eretz Yisrael, the body of the hostage that has not been returned. And Hashem should help whoever it is with whatever they need. L'chaim l'bracha. Anyone here speak a little bit of Hebrew or been to Israel before? Yeah. No. So, but I first went to Israel. I was 32 years old. It was 22 years ago. And I went to yeshiva. I was 33 years old. I started a little bit late in my journey to Judaism. And I was in Kfar Chabad, in the yeshiva there. I didn't know Hebrew. I didn't really know any basic idea about Judaism. And I was walking, and there's a couple Israeli dudes, and one of them screams out really loud, yells out, "Hey, Dudu!" And I was like, Where? He's like, "Dudu!" And I'm like looking all over because I don't want to step and crap. And I didn't realize that his friend's name is Dudu, because in Hebrew, David is Dudu. This is the Hebrew name for Dudu. So it's pretty funny when you hear people yelling, calling their friend Dudu. When we first moved back to America, my wife is Israeli, and we were in a store, and one of our kids was acting up a little bit, and she's going, "Die! And I'm like, no, you can't say that in America. That doesn't fly. Die in Hebrew means enough. It means stop. But in America, it means you should die. And I'm like, they're going to arrest you if you're in the supermarket telling our kids to die because they're making a lot of noise. So there's a lot of differences in the language. So they've done a study, and who could take a guess what the number one word that people like to hear is? They did a study across the world to see what is the thing. Their name. Exactly, their name. It's an amazing thing. Yeah, for you it's chocolate or candy. For the rest, it was their name. It's an amazing concept, but if you think about it, you could be in a group photo, right, with 100 people, and then someone shows you the picture. What's the first thing you do? You're looking for yourself, right? You're zooming, you're looking, you're seeing if someone's shooting a bird, right? Trump just shot a bird. You saw that move to that guy? That was pretty classic. He was touring a Ford factory, a plant, and someone started screaming out, "Hey, you pedophile! He started harassing him. And Trump goes, "F you," and shot him a bird. Who would ever imagine that the president of America would turn to someone and say, "F you," and shoot him a bird? It's interesting times we're in. So the first thing you do is you look for yourself. I had a friend who unfortunately is no longer here. He overdosed. And he was a big dude. He was covered in tattoos. He was very, very wealthy, very successful guy, but totally wild guy. And everywhere he went, he used to go, he's like, "Man, I don't give a shit about anything. I don't give a anything." That was his favorite sentence. I don't give a. He had 20 cars. He was very wealthy. And one thing I realized is that he was very self-conscious about people talking about him, about people saying bad things about him. I've generally found throughout life that the people who say they don't care the most are the ones who care the most. Because if someone's like, "I don't care, man. I don't give a crap. I don't care," I don't care what people think about me. That means they're the most self-conscious more than anyone else. Because it's called projecting outwards with the...
They're afraid to feel the fear. So like,
Correct. So by nature, whether we admit it, we like it, we don't like it, we care, we say we don't care, in the core of our very being, from the time we were children, one of the most important things to us is to be seen. To feel that someone really gives a crap. Even if we say we don't. You know, we could be in a bad mood, we could be depressed, we could be sad, we could have a rough day, whatever. Like, I don't feel like seeing anyone. And you run into an old friend, he gives you a big hug, and it lifts you up. It just does, right? Someone calls out your name. It's like someone knows you, someone acknowledges you. Because it does matter, because this is the core of who our beings are inside. That we want. It doesn't mean you're an egomaniac. It doesn't mean that you're going around, you know, saying, everyone look at me. It means that in the depths of your soul, you realize that you're here for a purpose, and God created you for a reason. And we all want to fulfill what that reason is. You know, according to Kabbalah, the teachings of the Arizal, sexual energy or releasing of a seed in relations is not just about sex or procreation. It's an energy of what are you having impact-wise in the world. Meaning, after 120, when you pass from this world, and someone's going to read your eulogy, what do you want it to say? Like, what? Huh? What? So, you want to say something?
So there was somebody who died.
Louder. Not to me, but for bringing together.
So there was a year that died this past Shabbos. And I'm not going to say how he died, but he died. And
is it the same guy who killed himself?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just curious.
And by the Shiva house, there was a photo of him.
Not funny that he killed himself. I'm just like, yeah, because I know he's talking. Yeah, go ahead.
So by the Shiva house, there was a photo of him.
It's terrible. It's a young kid.
That's what he wrote.
No, he wasn't now.
Oh.
5.
This is what he wrote.
Which one is him now?
He was 10 years old.
What do you want?
That's what he wrote when he was a kid. About what he wants to be remembered as.
Ali Berman's brother.
Oh, wow.
Look what he wrote when he was 10 years old.
I can't read that small. Read it to me.
He writes, when I die, when I pass on, he's 10 years old, this kid.
He's 10 years old, he wrote this.
When I pass on, I want people to say that I was kind to everyone, that I achieved a lot, that I helped make better environments.
We spoke about this on like
What is it 10-year-old? What is a 10-year-old saying such a thing?
It's crazy, I know. That's right, it is pretty wild.
What is LEC? Right,
LEC wasn't around for relax.
After a couple of years, you're saying, you know, what's better, to continue here or to die? I don't know, it's a close call. God forbid. No, because in the end, we all want to feel like we matter, that we have a purpose in this world. So I'm going to share a story with you that I just heard recently, an amazing story about the Rebbe. There's constantly new stories that come around about the Rebbe. You know, when I first went to yeshiva in Kfar Chabad, there's pictures of the Lubavitcher Rebbe everywhere. I mean, I don't know if anyone's been to Kfar Chabad. Has anyone been to Kfar Chabad or from Kfar Chabad? Yeah, that's one of them, yeah. But they have one there, yeah. You've been there, right? So it's wild. Like, I first rolled in there to yeshiva. I had no connection to Judaism whatsoever. I didn't know from Sephardi, Ashkenazi, Chabad, rest of nothing. I just knew I wanted to be more whatever a Jew meant to be. And oh wow, let's see how much l'chaims I say, and how late it gets. So that's a long for ringing. So I'm driving with someone in there, and literally there's every 20 feet there's giant pictures of the Rebbe. Pictures of the Rebbe all over the place. Pictures of the Rebbe, billboards, posters, quotes of the Rebbe. And I was like, who's that dude on the pictures all over the place? That you guys like worship this guy? What's wrong with you? And they're trying to explain to me what is the Rebbe. I have no idea. Huh?
I'm still stuck over here.
You're still there. You're still in the Alter Rebbe times. So I couldn't figure out what is this whole obsession with this person. So one night I'm sleeping in my dorm room in yeshiva. It was a broken building. There's like literally like barely any running water, no doors on the wall. Like the mattress was about this thin. It was a really not a very good place for Gashmis. That's what it kind of felt like. It felt like Fight Club with Torah. And mind you, I was living on the 31st floor in the ocean in Sunny Isles in a beautiful condo, driving a convertible Porsche. So it was like a major downgrade in my living accommodations. And I'm sitting there, and I was like so frustrated that this poster of this guy's all over the place. And I'm lying in my bed, and I look up at the picture, and there's this giant picture of the wall. Sure enough, the Rebbe is like staring at me. And I was like, "What are you looking at? Stop!" I felt like he was looking at me, the poster.
You don't want to.
And I got out of the bed, and I took the poster, and I ripped it off the wall. It was a giant poster. And I threw it on the floor. And I was like, "Ugh!" Of the Rebbe, giant poster of the Rebbe. And threw it on the floor. Oh, I was a big anti. I was a big anti back in that. I was the guy that guy was rapping about. Anti-Mishiachiston, chewing shoelaces. So, and when I when I ripped it off the wall, there was a giant hole in the wall, like a 3-foot hole. And I saw through, and it was the room next to the bathrooms. So I saw all the pipes and water was dripping. And I was like, oh wow, maybe I'll put it back up. Oh yeah, no, it was way too big for a glory hole, bro. And so, I'm trying to figure out what is the deal with this person all over the place. And I asked one of the rabbis. I said, "What is your obsession with this rabbi, with this man? Why are you looking at him all the time? Why is his picture everywhere?" And he said to me, "How many times a day do you look in the mirror?" I'm like, "Now none, because there's no mirrors in the dorms. But when I was back in Miami, quite a few." He said, "Why do you look at yourself all day long? You see, what you look like. What you look like." He said, "So we look at the Rebbe to see what potential we have inside of us. What it is we can aspire. Not that we're going to become like the Rebbe, but what we can learn. What we can learn from a leader." I heard. So people used to tell stories about the Rebbe in Kfar Chabad all over the place, and every time I'd go to someone else's house for Shabbat, they'd say, "You see these kids. This one couldn't see, and we went to the Rebbe for a bracha. Now he sees. This one couldn't hear." And then I go to another story. My wife couldn't become pregnant. She went to 20 doctors. They said she'll never have kids. The Rebbe gave her a bracha. She kid. I heard these stories on a weekly basis, every week, in and out. And I was like, are these stories really true? Are you guys pulling my leg?
You're not allowed to ask.
And so you can ask anything you want. This is not the Chassidus world you come from. Chabad, you ask anything you want. And he said, put it this way, people aren't making up stories like that about me and you. So there's a lot of selling motion. Anyways, I just heard a recent story about the Rebbe that I'd never heard before. And these new things come up all the time. Just to give you a glimpse of what it means. So this guy, there's a famous, I can't remember his name right now, but he was a reporter who lives in Israel. He comes from like a kippah sruga, knitted kippah background, and he wound up getting close to Chabad, and he's a reporter, and he goes around, and he speaks on radio and TV shows, and he got very connected to the Rebbe, and he put on a kippah, became very Mashiachist, and he goes and he speaks about the Rebbe as Mashiach all over the place. And he went to Crown Heights this past Tishrei, and he went to on Tulucha. Tulucha, I don't know if some of you guys know what that is. On the last day of Yom Tov, you go and you walk to other shuls, other congregations to say words of inspiration, to inspire them, whatever. So a lot of Lubavitchers, they tend to congregate to similar places. So they went to this one shul. It's called the Frankel Shul, which is it's in Crown Heights, a little bit further away. And so a lot of times they go to a close by shul because, okay, whatever. We did it. I remember in the beginning, I used to walk to Manhattan 5 hours. I couldn't walk. My legs like this. I came home. My wife's like, you're not a yeshiva bacher. You're almost 40 years old. So I don't go that far anymore. And anyways, this guy went to the Frankel Shul. And it was packed with Lubavitchers. There was like 30, 40 Chabad guys there. There wasn't a lot of congregation members. And everyone's sitting down and they're pounding food. And they're eating and they're making these big plates and they're making kiddush and they're eating. And it's like, wow, and there's so much food. And this guy's getting very uncomfortable. He's a very sensitive soul. And he's like, these Lubavitchers are here for, supposed to enliven the place to do talucha. They're eating all the food. There's going to be no food left. And the rabbi of the shul went to every single person and went and in front of every single person, brought them a plate, made sure they had food, gave them melchayim, gave them a drink. And these were the Lubavitchers. And usually, I love Chabad, I love the Rebbe. I don't come from a Chabad family. I came to Chabad later on. But to the outside world, Chabad is very accepting and very warm and very welcoming. To each other, it's like, get out of here, you pisher. Like, who are you? It's not the same kind of dynamic. But here's a Chabad rabbi of the shul, and every Chabad guy there, he's treating like a king. I mean, serving him, taking care of him. What do you, and this guy's watching one by one after the other, one after the other. He said, I've never seen so much Ahavas Yisrael in my life. So finally goes over and he says to him, he's like, what's going on? And he said, I never used to be this way. Don't be so impressed. He said, over the last few years, I changed, and now every single Jew I meet, I give them my complete attention and do everything possible to help them, no matter who they are or wherever I see them. So that's pretty impressive. He said, yeah, hang around later. I'll tell you the story. It gets late. They're for bringing, drinking around, saying more of the Chaims. And he says to him, you don't tell me the story. So he said when he was a kid, he went to the Rebbe. The Rebbe would give kids assignments to memorize different psukim, Baal Peh, of the Torah. Mishnayos, Tanya, Tehillim, whatever it is. And they would memorize these things and go to the Rebbe and recite it in front of the Rebbe. The Rebbe would give him $1. So he was 10 years old, 10 or 11 years old. And he'd been reciting for months, memorizing his Mishnayos. And he finally got all the Mishnayos memorized, and he was so excited. And he went with his parents to the dollar line of the Rebbe, and they're standing in line. And he gets in front of the Rebbe, and he's about to start telling the Rebbe how he did what the Rebbe asked, and he has all these Mishnayos learned about that. And he opens his mouth, and one of the Rebbe's secretaries, Rabbi Groner, grabs him and takes him and takes his family and pushes the people out, pushes them out of 770, pushes them away. That's it. Gone. Out.
He's a secretary. It's a job. Explain it. I'm not what I was there.
So the kid's outside, and he has tears in his eyes. And his parents are there trying to comfort him. And the kid's like, I've been for months learning Mishnayos so I could make the Rebbe proud and tell him, what happened. He said, listen, there must be a good reason. Everything's for the best. You understand? He's crying. After about 10 minutes, Rabbi Groner comes outside. He grabs the kid and says, no, come. And brings the kid back in. And the Rebbe said, I'm terribly sorry. I had to rush you out. Here's $1. I want to hear the Mishnayos you learned. And the kid goes ahead and recites the Mishnayos. And the Rebbe gives him another bracha, and it goes on. He said, that's the last I heard of the story. He said, a couple years ago, someone came to my shul, one of the Balabatim I know, and he showed me a picture. He said, is that you as a kid? He's like, yeah. He said, wow. He showed him a picture of him in front of the Rebbe in the dollar line. He said, wow. He said, I remember when that happened. I remember the story. He said, I never learned what happened. I remember the Mishnayos and the Rebbe, and they threw me out. And he looked, and there's a timestamp on the picture. He said, you can now go and get the video, because you bring them the timestamp, and they'll bring you the video footage. He said, no way. So he went to the archive headquarters, whatever, and brought the picture with the stamp. And sure enough, they showed him the video, and he played the video after, and he saw that when he was about to go in front of the Rebbe to get the $1, the mayor of New York walked in. I think it was Dinkins. I don't recall specifically, but the mayor of New York walked in. He didn't wait in line. He came in right from the other side of the door, and he had a whole team of security with him, and they had to clear out the whole room for security purposes. And he happened to be standing there where they cleared him out. He's watching the video, and in the video, after they cleared everything out, they came over to standing there. And the Rebbe said to the mayor, he said, I'm terribly sorry, but with all due respect, Mayor, there's a 10-year-old boy who really needs my attention right now. And it's disrespectful to make him wait, it's a true story, who wanted to speak with me. Would you mind stepping outside for a few minutes so I could continue my conversation with him, and then I'm happy to bring you back in and speak with you? And the mayor said, sure. And he said he was just crying. He couldn't believe that the Rebbe asked the mayor of New York to step outside so he can hear this boy's Mishnayos. And you see the sensitivity. And interesting enough, the guy who I told you, the reporter from Israel who was talking to the rabbi, he shared that story with him, he started crying. They're both crying. So the rabbi said to him, why are you crying? He said, because I think about how many times my own son came up to me and asked me for my attention, and I said, I can't be bothered right now, I'm busy. And the Rebbe's throwing the mayor of New York out. So wow. So both they were crying. And there's countless stories like this. But we see the sensitivity, and anyone who's had the schus of going to the Rebbe.
Heard the story from the rabbi?
He spoke at the
This rabbi, the Rabbi Franklin.
Yeah, not him. The guy who was there. He spoke at the kinnis, at the Mishka's kinnis. He told the story. So you see, not only the sensitivity. Anyone who's had the schus to go to the Rebbe and see the Rebbe will tell you that you're talking about someone who's literally, it's like, picture David HaMelech in our times, Moshe Rabbeinu. He has the whole world on his shoulders. thousands of organizations, billions of dollars, so much things going on. And when he's talking to you, nothing else in the world exists. You're the only thing in the world that exists, and he's totally hyper-focused only on you. So the Rebbe understands in the depth of his soul this concept of what is in the depths of our soul. And what is in the depths of our soul is that we matter. We matter. You know, on someone's Jewish birthday, the Rebbe once time told someone, he said, your birthday is the day to realize the world would not be the same without you. That something would be missing because God doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't make people.
So it's the same missing now.
No. Why are you giving up on, how old are you? You already said I don't fulfill my mission. Showing fatih.
Yeah, well, I mean, right now, we gotta go on a mission. It's like nothing happened.
So what's to say you're not going to start fulfilling it? What's to say you're not fulfilling it now? It's a journey. It's a journey. It's not a checkbox. So we're coming up on Yud Shevat. It's this Monday is Rosh Chodesh Shvat. We're entering the month of Shvat. And it's a very powerful month. It's the day the previous Rebbe was Histalik and was no longer leader of Chabad. And the day the Rebbe became leader of Chabad. On Yud Shevat, actually Yud Aleph Shvat in the following year, in 5711. And the Rebbe, when he gave his inaugural address, Basi Lagani, I'm sure, you're all familiar, right? Basi Lagani, everyone knows it, I'm sure. So the Rebbe's inaugural address, when there's a president or a leader of a country, in America it's a known thing, in the inaugural address of the American president, he gets up and the president speaks about what his mission is, what his goal is for his presidency, what his goal is for the upcoming 4 years or however it is that they're running. Usually that's what the president does. And what he wants to accomplish. So they get that concept like everything else from Judaism, right? What's the alphabet? It's Aleph Bet, right? You know, like the whole, everything that they have, their whole judicial system comes from England, comes from the Gemara. Everything originates in the Torah. That's the source of everything. So this concept comes from Judaism with a Nasi, with a leader. The Nasi of the Nasi Ador, the leader of the generation. Every time a leader speaks up, it's known in the times of the Beis Hamikdash, during the Hakel year, which is the year after Shemitah, on first day of Chol Hamoed Sukkot, the leader, the king, gets up and addresses the nation and speaks to everyone. This is a concept that comes from the Torah. And when the Rebbe took over as Rebbe, he started with a very particular inaugural address. And it's a mimer that was from the previous Rebbe, and it's based on a pasuk from Shir Hashirim. Basi Lagani Osechad. I've entered my garden, my sister, my bride. And the Rebbe sets up the whole foundation of his leadership up into this day on that mimer. Basi Lagani. Basi Lagani Osekhala. I've come to my garden, my sister, my bride. So if you haven't learned it, I encourage you to. You can learn it in English. You could ask any of us. We could post it. The actual mimer, yeah, because the mimer is incredible. Huh? The first Basi Lagani from the Rebbe was 5711. Now, which year? I don't remember. Yeah, every year we take one of the psukim, one of the paragraphs, the letters, and open it up into a mimer, and we learn that mimer. But the original Basi Lagani is all about this concept of who we are. And we have a very special gift, whether we realize it or not, that every single one of us in this generation has a very special mission in our lives. For me, the first time I learned it, it was amazing because I used to think, what is my purpose? My purpose is, I don't know, to get married, to have kids, to make a lot of money, to be able to travel, to fill in the blank. Everyone has their own goals, but that's not a purpose. That's not a life purpose. To become rich isn't a purpose. That's a goal. Our purpose is something much bigger than that. And in Basi Lagani, the Rebbe basically told us that each one of us has a purpose. We're here for a reason. That God chose each one of our souls in this generation now, right now, to be alive for a very specific mission that never existed before. And it belongs only to us. Stop beating yourself up. You know, when the Rebbe first gave the Maimer Basi Lagani, there was a chassid of the Frierdiker Rebbe, who in the middle of 770, you know, keep in mind, just a little backstory, the Rebbe didn't accept the Nasias for over a year. For a year straight, they kept telling the Rebbe to take the leadership. This is how you know a real leader. A lot of other Hasidic dynasties, not to make fun of any other Hasidic dynasties, but if the father or the leader is passing, there's a fight of who's going to take over. Everyone wants to be the next Rebbe. And Chabad is the opposite. There's a fight because no one wants no. Like Moshe Rabbeinu, this is humility. It's like, no, I'm not fitting for this position. Not, I want to be the next one. Like it's. So the Rebbe didn't want to be a Rebbe for over a year. They haked him a chanik, the Hasidim, the Bachram, they kept telling him and he kept saying, no, no, no. At one point in time, they were asking the Rebbe, the Merova, for bringing it, and the Rebbe got so angry, and he smashed his hand on the table. He said, if one more person asks me to be Rebbe, I'm going to disappear and you'll never see me again. I'll move to the other end of the world and I'll be gone. Yeah, I actually said that.
Why do they want him?
He was known to be the successor. Yeah, people knew that he married the Frierdiker Rebbe's. The Frierdiker Rebbe didn't have any sons. He married the Frierdiker Rebbe's daughter, and he was already working for the Frierdiker Rebbe long before he became Rebbe. Yeah, and he's also direct descendant from the Tzemach Tzedek, going back to the Rebbeim. Everyone knew, but he didn't. He refused. He said, "No, I'm not doing it. I'm not interested. I'm not doing it." He got very upset. One time, before he got angry at that, a group of the Bachram came to him, and they kept telling him to become Rebbe, and he kept saying no. And one of the reasons he gave was the Shver, the Rebbe didn't say anything to me. The Rebbe didn't tell me. The previous Rebbe, the Frierdiker Rebbe, the Rebbe would go to the Rebbe's gravesite every day, and pray for people. So he said the Rebbe didn't say anything to me. He would actually communicate with the Rebbe after he passed from this world. This is not a concept in Hasidus. This is a Jewish concept that tzaddikim do not die. Their souls do not deteriorate. It says in the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, they buried him. They stuck him in the ground. And he came back and made Kiddush for his family every Friday night. That's in the Gemara. You can't be Yotzi on a spiritual Kiddush. You can't say, oh, it was an angel. It was his soul. No, it's not possible. You have to hear the Kiddush. So there's many stories like this.
Were they Kiddush?
Huh?
Were they good? Or his?
Yeah, that's what he meant. That's the point. He came back physically in a body.
Like Jesus?
Wait, so can you still be
I'm not gonna lie.
Listen.
The whole time you've been talking, I've been seeing so many similarities between Jesus
Where did they get it from?
and the Rebbe.
Where do you think they got it from?
All Michiganis. And by the way, I hate the Rebbe as much as you used to hate the Rebbe. I'm like, why the heck is this guy looking at me? And the whole statues thing in Judaism, we can't have statues, 3D statues.
That's not a statue.
2D, 3D, it's all a bunch
It's
of bull
not
crap.
the same.
It's a bunch of bull crap. And I don't think he would want that because every person, every Jew deserves their own, statue. I feel like I deserve my statue. And every Jew should feel that way.
Where's the statue? First of all, there's no statues here. Hold on, there's no statues here. So let's just talk facts. That's not a statue. That's a picture. And you have many pictures of you as well. So you do deserve them. You can't take them. There's no statues. But go ahead, continue.
That's it.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. The Chumash. Are you familiar with the Chumash? What's it called? The 5 books of? 5 books of?
Torah Moshe.
From Moshe.
5 books of Moses.
5 books of Moses. Sounds a little bit like what? Why doesn't it say 5 books of God? Right. Why doesn't it say 5 books of God?
Because God give it to Moshe.
Al Yedei Moshe.
Moshe was the first Rebbe. What do we call him? Moshe Rabbeinu. What does Rabbeinu mean? Our Rebbe.
He ate the most kugel, that's why.
Our Rebbe.
He wasn't a fellowship Rebbe, sorry.
Why do we need it? Why do we have it? It's a different religion. Who needs it? Let's just have God. Right?
Ever.
What does Rebbe mean? Rebbe is an acronym of 3 letters. Reish, Beit, Yud. Say it again. Very good. Very good, Yosef. Hazak u'baruch. Rosh B'nai Yisrael.
You know what means Rosh B'nai Yisrael?
Rosh B'nai Yisrael.
You know these words. You
No.
Rosh means head.
Rosh is head.
Bnei Yisrael
of the Jewish people.
of the Jewish people. The God set up the world that in every generation there's a head, there's a leader. And that leader is responsible, just like a shepherd, for leading the flock of sheep. And God, what's happening? No problem.
So dirty.
God channels his energy first and foremost through that individual, just like there's God throughout all of you. There's not any part of your body your godly soul doesn't exist. It's in your ear, your eyes, your nose, your mouth, your toes, everywhere. But the ikar, the main part of your godly soul, is in your brain. Okay? The godly soul enters into your brain and spreads out to your whole body. That's the way it works. The same way God's energy spreads into the world. First to the head. The Jewish people make up a head and a full body, and then to the body. That's the system he set up. The fact that other religions have stolen that concept and twisted it around for their own reasons we're not going to get into right now has nothing to do with the fact that there's not a reality that they took it from. Yeah. Please.
So last week one day I went to the wedding of a shliach I met in Costa Rica.
Nice.
And why is a shliach? It was a shliach. It's a messenger. The Rebbe sent a bunch of Jews. There's Jews that lived in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because of one of the Rebbe's missions. And I was in a low. It was because of these shliachs that literally kept me connected. You know? And we connected so much. I got invited to his wedding.
Wow.
I skateboarded. I took the bright line on the West Palm Beach. I took my little penny board. I didn't want to drive. And my friend's like, Alicia? Like the shliach. I went to the bathroom to change. I was like, thank you, thank you for the Lubavitch. Thank you so much for the Lubavitch. But I really think if everyone was like Lubavitch, Mashiach would be here because of the hospice. It's really about the community, you know?
And I agree with everything about it. I
Just what?
Rebbe.
If it wasn't for the Rebbe, you wouldn't be sitting here right now because the center wouldn't exist because I wouldn't be here. Saved my life.
How do you smoke a pot in the street corner? Straight out.
No. I appreciate it. And I love it.
No, I'm just saying.
And I'm a part of it. And everything I do is like for God based.
We'll take the statue down.
But you're the one who said it.
What?
That when you got into it, you hated
Sure.
it. And you threw it on the floor. And
Sure. I'm not judging you. I hear you.
When I first saw these pictures of everyone around, I was like, who the heck is this guy?
I'm with you. Sure.
Just
So I'm
like you.
going to share a little bit about that with you tonight, and I appreciate your openness. And continue, please. It's a forbringing. 100%. It's a forbringing. It's not about in the old days. Chassidim used to like l'chaim.
The best things that come into my life that come from like Jewish and Chabad things.
And if you're frustrated, speak about it. That's what a forbringing is about. It's not
I'm
meant.
frustrated with life in general,
I understand that.
but I'm grateful to be here.
We're grateful to have you. So, when the Rebbe took over as Rebbe, as the next leader of the generation, the next head of the generation, the Nasi Ador, the leader of the generation, the Moses of our generation, he basically told us in the very first words, the very first discourse, that we are the last generation of exile and the first generation of redemption. Meaning Mashiach is coming in our generation, that after thousands of years, the moment the Jewish people have been waiting for and praying for, the whole reason God created the world in the first place, is happening. Now, right now. It's pretty wild. And the natural response is, but why now? Look at previous generations. There were so many holy people, so many tzaddikim. Look in this generation. Who is there? Our very leaders are like, 50 years ago, the president of America wouldn't have said F you to someone and flipped them off.
No, he didn't really say that.
Today?
Things were way
No,
worse.
on the balcony?
Yes.
He didn't say F you.
He
I
did.
said I love you.
Oh. Think positive.
I love you. I love you.
I'm not here to say it right or wrong. I'm just saying we're in a very lowly generation. There's I'm flying on Sunday. There's a whole big push now in the airline industry to try to get people to go back to flying respectfully. that when you fly, don't fly in your bra.
Give us back our baggage. You know?
Back in the day, people would fly, they put on suits. It was like, you go to the airport now and, like women, like, like half the booty sticking out. And they're like, it's a whole different world.
You want to stop that?
Hello, this is a generation.
Yeah, true. But our generation is particularly lowly, if you will. The first time.
I think that's getting holier. Back to the days of Adam and Eve.
Oh, back, back to get naked, right? Walking around without clothes on. Yeah. Okay.
I'm sure there's a second Judaism.
So, how is it possible that all this is happening now? Hello. So the Rebbe basically explained a very interesting concept. And where we fit into this. In the very beginning, you've ever heard of heaven, right? Heard this term heaven, right? Yeah, that's right. There's a lady who knows. Yeah. So the OG. Originally, God set up the world that heaven wasn't up there, it was down here. That God's presence, the holiest place in the world, was in this physical world. And that's actually the purpose of all creation, believe it or not. That when Mashiach comes, the holiest people who've ever lived, think of anyone you could think of that comes to mind, right? Moses, Aaron HaKohen, Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Rabbi Akiva, Shimon Bar Yochai. Huh? Well, the Rebbe is still here, so I'm not going to use him in existence. Adam and Chava, every holy tzaddik that ever lived, right, is going to come back in their physical bodies, leave up in heaven, come back into their physical bodies to be down here in this world.
What about their reincarnation?
All of them will come back. Every reincarnation. Yeah. You're a reincarnation. I'm a reincarnation.
So like all the bodies
are keep in mind, there's 600,000 root souls. Each one of those souls, look at a massive tree, has a branch and sub-branches and sub-branches and sub-branches. So that the root of our soul could have been put into thousands, tens of thousands of people.
When the soul split in reincarnation, let's say, that's just one. Now it's like two different souls.
Same. It's like grafts, right? You take a plant and you take off you grow a little tree and you take off a tree and you plant it, it makes another tree. You take off a tree. It came from the same seed. Huh? Correct. That's what it is. But they originate from the same seed.
That's literally everything.
Right. One second. Yeah.
It's going to be when you marry someone else. If I live, let's say, 100 times, but 100 bodies, is it going to be 100 bodies?
Correct. Right. Huh? Again, it's like a seed, right? If you plant one seed in the ground and a tree grows, and you take a branch off the tree and plant it in the ground and another tree grows, it originates from the same seed. It germinates. Yes, Alicia, that's it.
I was saying that's literally like everybody how they live. You marry someone, your DNA, like with theirs, you have a kid.
The birds and the bees. Yeah. For sure. But
I'm saying that's also like it's the shaman you're saying.
Yeah. No, the point I'm making is that even the holiest people are going to come back into their physical body because the whole purpose of creation is this physical world. The Rebbe says in Basi Lagani that all the spiritual worlds, the world of Etzilus, Bria, Yetzirah, Asiyah, the world of Adam Kadmon, millions of myriads of troops of angels that are praising God, all exist for this physical world. All the spiritual worlds only exist to make a transition from spiritual to physicality.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, people started as much less people, and every generation there's more and more people than the previous generation. But at the same time, even though people's souls can come back as more and more people, the reason why people get reincarnated is to do things that they missed.
Correct. Tikkun, fix up. Correct.
All of these generations that we passed, every single mitzvah, every single thing was already finished.
Right.
My soul's past millions
Yosef,
of people that have lived before me that shared the same soul as me did every single mitzvah and every single thing that they need to do
Oh,
And
good
even
question.
as more,
Thank you.
Even as more people, more parts of the same souls.
So you have
we're all coming back from the same.
very good question.
Very little amount of souls.
Very good question.
There's so many people, and every generation, next generation, there's gonna be. If you get married and you have kids, most people, some people have one kid, but most people have more than two kids.
Uh-huh.
So every generation, there's just
More. Right.
more Jewish people, more non-Jewish people, more.
So what's the point? The idea is that when Mashiach comes, the tikkun is over. In other words,
The tikkun is already over.
tikkun's already over. Right, because Mashiach's already here. So the whole process is over. But when everyone's going to return, it's not going to be to what we say is tikkunim. In other words, the general work in this world is called birurim. Birurim is rectifying the sparks of godly energy that's stuck. That's what mitzvot are about. We do a mitzvah, we elevate sparks of energy. That's all done. When Mashiach comes, the Meidah Avoda is what we're going to be called. It's not going to be birurim anymore. It's going to be zivugim, connecting. In other words, we're just going to keep connecting and going higher and higher and higher, elevating to God. Yeah. So it's almost like the reward phase, and this is the working phase. It's like we're planting the seeds now, and then they'll sprout when Mashiach comes. So the Rebbe said a very interesting concept.
I was saying, like I heard so many different times by so many different rabbis that the reason why people come back as reincarnated.
I understand. They didn't finish their mission.
It's a mitzvah, a mitzvah.
I got you.
Done yet.
What I'm trying to tell you.
Everything's done already. It's been done. My grandparents also was done for them.
Right. So when Mashiach comes, it's for the reward. Why it's still happening today and now? Because God, we're not, until we have what we say is the full geula, the final redemption, God is not just going to stop the process of the world and say, okay, all the souls are in the world right now, so no one's going to get pregnant anymore. No one's going to have children anymore because there's no reason for them to be here. We're still part of a general mission, which I'm going to speak about now. And we still each have to work on ourselves to improve ourselves. It doesn't mean that something's lacking or missing, but we still have an integral part, what's happening, of pieces of this puzzle. So the Rebbe said a very interesting idea, that Adam and Chava, when they were put in the Garden of Eden, when they were put into this world, the birds and the bees, they were together with God. Everything was perfect, everything was great. God was living together with them. And, as you pointed out, they were naked, right? They weren't ashamed.
5.
What does it mean they weren't ashamed?
Naked W.
Naked. What does it mean they weren't ashamed?
Because they were Kedusha.
So they didn't feel themselves. No.
They felt one with Hashem.
They
were
felt
all one, united.
good answers, Alicia. Yes, no, they're all correct. So let's back up a little bit. On Wednesday night, I give a shir. If you want to join in at 8 o'clock, I teach Kabbalah. We have a girls' center that meet in my house. And we're learning the Sefer Yetzirah, which is the most mystical, deepest book of Kabbalistic text ever written. It's amazing. Most people say Avraham Avinu every Wednesday at 8 o'clock, but it's live because I do it at my house for the girls. We have a girls' program. But it's on YouTube. It's on live. Avraham posted to join the chats.
I thought girls are not supposed to learn very deep stuff.
It's not true. The Rebbe says, and the Arizal basically said, once in our generation, everything's changed. It's a mitzvah. Men, women, children, everyone should learn the inner dimensions of the Torah. So we speak about in the Sefer Yetzirah, and one of the concepts they learn about is what is good and what is evil. Right? We learn in the original tree, it said Adam and Chava ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So what is good and what is evil? Does anyone know?
I would say anything that takes you away from God is evil. And then it's against his will.
I think.
It's evil.
Good.
I think Chabad is good and strippers are evil.
We're just confused.
So interesting enough that the Sefer Yetzirah says that good is godly consciousness and evil is self-consciousness. So similar to what you were saying. That Adam and Chava, before they sinned, they saw God everywhere. The world was a godly place. God was dwelling in the world. They didn't see anything bad. They didn't see anything that was separate, as Alicia said, from God. Everything was united. It was in a state of oneness. There was no sense of separation. Everything felt total unity, total oneness.
But the
Huh?
tree was the tree was separate.
Huh?
The fruit was separate.
It was separate, but when I mean you had separate things, but they felt the divine energy tying everything together.
Created.
Right, everything is godly. There's nothing separate. So there's this concept, by the way, is every day when we say Shema Yisrael. Shema Yisrael is what we say, Yehuda Ila'ah, meaning upper unity, and Baruch Shem Kavod is Yehuda Tata, or lower unity, meaning upper unity. Shema is nothing exists but God. There's no independent existence. We all exist within God. And the lower unity is we're independent, but we feel that we're together and part of the same mission in the state of oneness. But in the core of being, if anything, the Arizal says that this fork has godliness inside of it. A rock has godliness inside of it. If anything in this world didn't have a spark of godliness in it, it wouldn't exist. Because God brings it into existence. Correct. It's God's inside there too. It wouldn't exist, right?
Even though it feels, you feel it somehow, but whatever it is, it's still has,
Spark of godly energy, correct. If you take a leaf and try to put off a tree, it's going to die because it's disconnected from its source. So we're all connected to our God. We're all connected to our source. The only thing is, before the sin, they felt it. And after the sin, they felt themselves. So what happened? They got nervous. They started covering themselves. And God said, who told you you're naked? They were always naked, but they didn't realize it before.
someone put it on my Instagram.
Yeah, showed up on my feed. The difference is before they were looking outwards in the world. And after we have this concept of being self-aware or self-conscious, right? You know, the worst thing you're sitting on a bunch of, you see like a couple of people looking at you and they start going like this and start laughing. You start freaking out. You're like, what are they laughing at? What are they looking at? I've went back in my days of high school. I had some pretty crazy friends and like, we would literally go out and these guys would get like start fights because someone looked at them the wrong way. What are you looking at? It's like, what? Huh? The subways, what do you mean? It's probably the same crap. That's how it was growing up when I was in high school. It's like, who cares? It's like, there's so much who cares? So by nature, we have this awareness, the self-awareness. When it's contrary to who we really are, what we really are is parts of God. But we can get disconnected and feel like we're alone, that no one cares about us, that no one really gives a crap. And, we all go through these bouts. You could call it depression. You could call it sadness. You could call it whatever you want. Every single thing in the world is medication. It's all addictions. I don't care if it's drugs, alcohol. Cell phone is the biggest addiction. Social media is one of the biggest addictions. Sports, gambling, anything that stops you from acknowledging who am I and why am I here. The whole world is just spending their whole life following what other people are doing, but it's so meaningless. And
some addictions are good.
What's an addiction that's good for you? That can't be.
Kamara.
Anything that's an addiction is not good for you. If you work, correct. If you work in order to make some money to support your family and help give tzedakah, that's a good thing. But if your work becomes such an obsession that you no longer have time for anything but your work, and it takes over your life and you can't stop it, that's not good for you.
But I mean, also at the same time,
You gotta have.
Have you ever heard of an
you gotta
addictive personality?
You ever heard of a workaholic?
Yeah,
What?
most people.
So-
Yeah.
Carve out time for yourself to keep yourself fit, work out, go to the gym, take walks in the park.
Of course.
chill,
People like me,
meditate,
Yes.
have like a sort of addictive personality. When I start like getting really into something I like, there are times I could pull an all-nighter on it and I never want to stop.
Most people are like that, believe it or not.
Think about like a yeshiva bucker during Gemara, and then he doesn't have time for his kids or his wife or anything because he's studying Gemara. Like, and
Well, most yeshiva bacham aren't married with
he
kids,
cannot
but
stop.
He's hired to
You know what I
take
mean?
care of his
Yeah.
wife and his kids.
usually they get married after for that exact reason. But yeah, so there is.
So he has to go back to his wife.
I don't know what that
Right,
means.
I'm saying it's
What
obligated.
does that mean?
But I'm saying most yeshiva bachrim, before they get married, they spend time in yeshiva, they learn, and then they go out and get married and learn from time to time, but not all day long. That's not.
Because they have all different obligations.
Correct. The key to everything in life is balance. It's very easy. An addiction is anything that you can't stop. anything you can't stop that is making you feel better in the moment, because it's distracting you from something that's painful, that you know in the long run is not good for you and ultimately is not going to help you, but you can't stop because it feels good and it's distracting
But
you.
you convince yourself it's good.
That's the key, of course.
That's the addictive personality.
Yeah. It's like my roommate in college smoked more weed than I've ever met anyone in my life. He's the only one I know who actually went to rehab for, yeah. Yeah. He's the only one I know who went to rehab for smoking weed. This guy, my roommate in college, he used to wake up in the morning at 3:00 in the morning, put on the nightlight, take the bong, shut the nightlight, and go back to sleep. I'm like, bro,
Bad dreams?
it's 3 a.m. You're sleeping. Why do you need to get high while you're sleeping? He would go to the toilet with his bong, dude. I'd like go in there, go to the shower. He'd be sitting on the can. And I'm like, seriously? He was. The good thing is it helped me stop smoking weed because I got so disgusted by it. I was like, I wanted nothing to do with it. One day I'm like, listen, bro, I don't know how to tell you this. It's your life. You do what you want. I'm like, you have a serious problem. I'm like, you're addicted to marijuana. He goes, dude, I'm not addicted to marijuana. I'm like, you're addicted. He goes, I'm not addicted. I'm like, you can't stop. He goes, I can stop anytime I want, bro. I said, stop. He goes, I don't want to. And that was his mantra. He actually destroyed his life. We've actually had a few guys from the centers who, it's not common, who've literally destroyed their lives from smoking weed. Yeah, they started. I don't know from these things. In my days, we rolled joints. Now they've got these waxes and dabs and all these other kind of far out things. Supposedly it's like really much stronger, but I've literally seen kids who are so together and just come falling apart. So, and that's what an addiction is. So addictions are very hard to break. I'm with you. But we have to go to the root of the addiction. The addiction is not the problem. The problem is what is the pain the addiction is trying to mask, which 99 out of 100 times is childhood trauma, stuff that needs to be healed. But I don't want to go too far from a tangent. We could talk about that after. But no, it's okay. It's a Farbengen. We're good. But I want to focus a little bit more just to understand how precious and how we have a special mission. So God basically said, I'm here in the world together with you, Adam and Chava, and we're in Gan Eden. This world is a heavenly place. It's a godly place. Everything is great. Everything is wonderful. And then they ate from the tree of knowledge, as we know what happened. And God basically said, I'm not angry at you. I'm not going to punish you. I mean, it did kind of get a punishment, but I can't be with you anymore. Because God, Kedusha, holiness, cannot dwell together with klipa or impurity. It doesn't go together. It's like water and oil, they repel each other. So the second, it's like driving a car, right? Each one of us, you know what makes us Jewish? You know what makes us a Jew?
Our mom.
Okay, well, what does it mean?
Heritage.
Okay, but what does it mean to be Jewish? Okay, we get it from our mom, but what makes us different?
Your ancestors were on Mount Sinai.
You survived.
Joseph is knocking it out of the park tonight.
Wait, what did he say?
He's knocking it out of the park.
What does that mean?
Yeshiva Torah or Miami, a little representation over here. One of their Talmidim banging it out. Dov, you hear Yosef over here? You hear Yosef? Cranking over here, bro. He's not. Let everyone have a chance, Yosef. You're getting all the answers right. No, literally, it's correct. That God basically said, every single one of us have a soul. It's called an enlivening soul inside of us.
Non-Jews don't have a soul?
Every one of us, Jews, non-Jews, combined together.
Okay.
We all have a soul.
Oh, yes, that's on the.
That soul keeps us alive. That soul keeps us alive. It's like a battery to a car. If we didn't have a soul, we wouldn't exist.
No.
There's some level of spark of a soul. No, I'm explaining to you your question. That's horrible.
Does Hashem even exist?
All right, I'm ending the Farbrengen. I'm going home. It's over. So what makes us a Jew? What makes us a Jew? Everyone in the world has a soul. It's like a battery to a car. If it didn't have it, it wouldn't exist. But when God chose us to be his nation, he said, I'm putting a second soul inside of you. What's happening? A second soul that only you have. That's what makes you Jewish. There's what we call a godly soul. A literally part of God inside every soul. What's up, brother? How you doing? Literally part of God inside every single one of us. And the godly soul and the regular soul are in constant battle. They each want to be in control of the body. The ultimate goal is the physical body. And so the godly soul can't be in charge of the body if the enlivening soul is in charge of the body. But guys, please, I can't hear. Sorry. You could go in the other room and talk, please. The godly soul can't be in charge of the body if the enlivening soul is in charge of the body. It's like two people can't drive a car at the same time. So we either let the godly core take control or we let the animalistic or lively part take control. So in the beginning, the whole world was godly energy. And when that non-godly energy came into the world from Adam and Chava, God said, I can't coexist with that non-godly energy. I'm out of here. So to speak. That's the energy of the message that was conveyed. Didn't actually talk. It means that God can't exist in a place of filth, of impurity. So his what we call the Shekhinah, the main divine presence, left this physical world. Okay? This physical world is called the world of Asiya. There's 4 general worlds. There's Atzilus, Bria, Yetzira, and Asiya. Those 4 worlds are the process God used to make something spiritual become physical. In the beginning, it was just spirituality, ruchnius. God said, I want to create physicality. How do I do that? He said, I'm going to go what we call histalshus. It's a chain of creation. I'm going to make a process from spiritual to become physical. So the world of Atzilus is called nearness. It's a world that's close to God. He made the 10 sefirot. The world of Bria is called creation. That's when it starts becoming something. The world of Yetzirah is formation. That's when that something becomes defined. It's still spiritual. And our world of Asiya is physicality. That's when things actually become physical. Physicality only exists in this low world. In this world, there's 7 heavens. You ever heard the saying, 7th heaven, 7 heavens? So in this world, it's a TV show? Oh, really? So 7 heavens mean there's 7 spiritual worlds in this world. When Adam and Chava sinned, God said, I can't be here, so to speak. My energy left this world and went to the world above it, to the 6th spiritual world. And then after every sin, after Cain killed his brother, after the Mabul, after every sin, God's energy kept going further up, till it went to the furthest it could go, which is the 7th level. And that level is the furthest God's energy could get, from this physical world. The most disconnected, the most corrupt the world was. That was in the times of before, yeah?
So this contradicts what you were saying before, that we were talking about heaven, right?
Yeah.
And how heaven is in this world.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So how are we so far away? Did we bring it back?
Good question. I'm glad you're paying attention. That's exactly the point I'm going to make right now. So it was in this physical world. Heaven meaning what we call the Shekhinah, or God's main divine presence. Just like the main part of your soul is in your brain, and it's in your whole body, the main part of God's energy, so to speak, it's the whole universe, but it was down here in the physical world. It's God's Shekhinah, we call it. It's called, in the Maimer, the Rebbe calls it the Iker Shekhinah, the main divine presence. After the sin, that godly energy went up to the spiritual worlds, and it went all the way up to the highest spiritual world, furthest away from this world, the highest heaven, if you will. And Avram Avinu, the first Jew, started bringing it back, just as you asked, further down to the world. Avram brought it from the 7th level to the 6th level, and they kept bringing it further down.
No way.
Yes. Until it got all the way down through.
Was it like, what happened when they brought it down a level? Was it like,
Party time. Woo! Party time. God's energy's back in the world. I don't know if they were aware of it. I don't know if they knew that the energy, because it still wasn't here. But one Jew came along, one Moses, one Rosh Rabbeinu, one leader of the generation. Chavrei, hello. One leader, Moses. Moses was the 7th from Avram, the 7th generation. What made Moses so special? He brought the 10 commandments. What are the 10 commandments? It's bringing the spiritual energy back into the physical world.
everyone follows it.
Everyone. Every religion, by the way, including Islam and Christianity, 100% agree that God gave the Torah to the Jewish people, that 600,000 people witnessed it, that God literally came from heaven and handed the Torah to Moses. There's no religion that denies that. They just claim that later on, some prophet woke up and God talked to him and God changed his mind. And now they have a whole new religion.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
connection to this conversation.
Good.
Why, in your opinion, okay, the Jews say, or people say about the Jews that we are the chosen
People.
chosen people, or Am HaNivchar in Hebrew.
Yes.
Why? What does it mean, Am HaNivchar? What they
Who else was given the Torah?
Because God chose us. He gave us.
So I'll explain it to you.
Nasha v'nishma.
It's a very good question.
Right, Rabbi? Nasha v'nishma?
Right. We'll do it and we will understand. So before God gave the Torah to the Jewish people, he offered to the nations of the world. He knew they weren't going to take it, but he wanted to be fair. So he went to the Notzrim, the Christian nation, and said, I have a gift for you. It's called the Torah.
Take it or we'll burn you with the cross.
Would you want this gift that I'm presenting to you?
who offered that?
God,
Oh,
before the Jewish people.
okay.
He went to the Christian nations and said, I'm offering you a
But
gift.
the Christians not was exist.
Correct. It wasn't correct. It wasn't the Christian nation, so to speak. It was the root of the Christian nations.
So you mean the Muslims, maybe?
Both. So the shores, the roots of Christianity, right?
Yeah.
It comes from. So you have Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, right?
Yes.
So then you have Yishmael,
Yeah,
and you have
this,
Esau. So Esau ultimately became the Christian nation, and Yishmael became the Muslims.
the Muslims.
Right. So the ministering angels of those nations, the root of them nations, God offered the Torah to. And the first thing they said is, well, what's in it? You know, this is a very
That's what they ask.
correct.
Okay.
Correct. Most people, they don't do things unless there's what we say is a whiffum. You know what a whiffum is, isn't it? Whiffum. You heard this before, whiffum?
No, I don't.
Whiffum is an acronym for what's in it for me. In other words, most people are looking to do something if they're going to gain from it, right? They're going to benefit. Pleasure is one option. The truth is, according to modern psychology, there's two motivating factors. That's it. Avoidance of pain and seeking out of pleasure. The two main motivating factors that drive every decision we make, consciously or unconsciously, are to avoid pain or seek out pleasure. We don't think about it before we do it, but in our unconscious soul, that's what we're trying to do. The origins of life is we start by avoiding pain, and then ultimately we look for ways to develop pleasure, to have something good. So they asked, what's in it for me? What do we get out of it? And God said, I'm giving it to you. Do you want it or not? And they started asking questions. Because God said, it's my set of laws, it's my set of rules, it's how to conduct yourself in the world. So they said, what's in it? So God started telling them. They said, are we allowed to kill? Because we love to kill. It's one of our favorite things to do. Esau was a hunter. He loved killing. It gave him great joy. God said, no, you're not allowed to kill. They said, okay, we don't want it. It's not for us. Went to the Muslims. Ishmael before. Would you like the Torah? What's in it? Started telling him, can we steal? You're not allowed to steal. We don't want it because we have sticky fingers. We like to take things. So he got to the Jewish people and said, would you like my Torah? They said, what does it cost? He said, it's free. We'll take two. They said, so this is what happened. In other words, the whole basis of being a Jew, it's called Nasa v'nishma, as Meir correctly pointed out. It means we will do and we will understand later. We don't understand why we can't mix linen together with wool. We don't understand why we can't mix milk and meat, or why we can't eat lobster. It doesn't make sense. There's no logic to it. We do it because God says to do it. When Mashiach comes, we'll understand why. So God basically said when he chose us to give us the Torah, he said the whole entire world exists, so there would be what we say a moral or ethical world. There's 7 laws that God gave to Adam Rishon and to Noah, called the 7 laws of Noah. These are the basic 7 laws that the whole world is obligated to follow. In fact, if everyone followed these 7 laws, there'd be no more wars, there'd be no more problems. What are the 7 laws? To respect God, to believe in one God, not to have idolatry, not to believe in other gods, not to eat the limb of a live animal, be kind to animals. People used to eat animals alive to give them animalistic powers. Not to steal, not to murder, not to commit adultery. You're married, then a man marries a woman. You don't want to be with her, you get a divorce. You don't cheat behind your spouse's back. And to establish courts of justice. No paying off judges, no bribery. Everything's very honest and fair. Those are what we call 7 laws of humanity, of morality, of ethics, of to make the world a moral place. But God said, I want more than that. I want to make the world kedusha, holiness. Holiness means I want a world that I want to be in, because it says, I am holy, so you should be holy. God explains. What does it mean? It means a Jew has 613 mitzvot, commandments. Tefillin, Shabbat, kashrus, they don't make sense. But every time we keep a mitzvah, we're not only making the world moral or ethical, we're making it godly. The reason there's so much Jew hatred is there's God hatred. There's an old saying, there's no such thing as a righteous atheist. Because it's very easy to say God doesn't exist. Because if he doesn't exist, I could do whatever I want. And not feel bad. No guilt, right? If there's a God, there's rules. I have to follow those rules. So there's no God. How's the proof? We're going to hate the Jewish people. So a Jew, when we do what we need to do, the nations respect us. They really do. But when we act like them, when we don't cover our head, we don't eat kosher, we don't keep Shabbat, we say, I'm not interested. So they're looking at us like liars. They're saying, hold on a second. You want us to believe that God chose you to be special messengers to the world, to keep the Torah, to bring holiness to the world? You're not doing it yourself. You made it all up. You don't believe it. Why should we believe it? You're liars. And they hate us. Why? Because we are showing them, we're showing them that it's not real. It's not true. When we do what we need to do, they respect us very much. They do. So we're chosen for this mission. To bring, it says, a light to the nations, to bring godly energy into the world through keeping his Torah. So going back to our little journey of Basi Lagani, so when the Rebbe took over and explained this concept that God's main Shekhinah, his essence, left this physical world and started traveling upwards, Avraham Avinu started bringing godly energy back into the world, and it continued on for every generation until Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was the 7th from Abraham, and he brought us the Torah. The Torah connected heaven and earth together, made a state of oneness, an energy pipe. So God said, I'm finally back in the world. Heaven is back on earth. I can be with you again. It didn't last very long, because 40 days later, the Jewish people miscalculated the time for Moshe to come back down from Har Sinai. The Yetzer Hara, the Satan, showed a picture of Moshe dead. He said, listen, you got cheated. Your leader's dead. And they made a giant orgy. They make a golden calf. And God said, seriously? You don't last 2 months? That's it? No, it's true. Oh, yeah, there was horrible stuff going on there. Oh, yeah. Yes, every type of horrible thing. It was like before the Mavel, before the God brought the flood. Really, really bad things were going on. So God said, okay, see you later. And God's presence went up again. From the first world, 2nd set, all the way back up to the 7th. The Alter Rebbe, whose Yurtzeit was just this past week, which is the first Rebbe of Chabad, once again began the process, the founder of Chabad, correct?
Guy on the wall.
No, this is the first Rebbe.
Oh, really?
He's the 7th Rebbe.
I went through this whole shop just thinking it was the guy on the walls we were praying for.
It's the 7th Rebbe. So the first Rebbe began the process, Rabbi Shner Zalman of Lady, of bringing God's energy back to the physical world. That's why there's 7 Rebbes. When the Rebbe took over as Rebbe, it's the 7th Rebbe, and he gave his inaugural address, Basi Lagani. He basically said, we have now returned God's presence back to the physical world. Just like Moses stated in his generation, our generation is the generation who is reconnecting godly energy back into the physical world. And that's why we're the generation of Mashiach. 7 Rebbes, 7 heavens. It's no joke. And the Rebbe said in every generation there's a Moses of the generation, a leader of the generation. And his job is, if the generation merits, to redeem the generation. Moshe got chosen to redeem the Jewish people from Egypt. The Rebbe basically said, I didn't choose this job. You didn't choose to be part of this mission. But guess what? We're all the 7th generation. And I'm going to be the shepherd, not because I want to, because God chose me. Just like Moses was a shepherd to take the Jewish people out of Egypt, I got chosen the shepherd to take you all out of the Egypt of America and return to Israel with the Mashiach. That is our job of our generation. So right in the very beginning, the Rebbe let us know that we have a very special mission in our times in our world. Never existed before, because in previous generations, they had to bring the divine presence back from spiritual world to spiritual world. Only now it's back in the physical world. So because of that, we have a very special mission. And that mission is to reveal godliness in the world. And the Rebbe, very interestingly, shows this mimer called Basi Lagani. Basi Lagani basically means, I have returned to my garden. Alicia, what does it mean I've returned to my garden? Basi Lagani. You've learned Basi Lagani before? Yeah. In the month of Elul, what do we say? Amelech ba? The month of Elul. Basada. In the field, right? King is in the field. Why does he say, why did the Rebbe start as his inaugural address talking about a garden? Different mimer. That's a wedding mimer. But why the garden? Why not the field? Why not the world? The Rebbe basically took over as Rebbe and said that our mission is to bring God into our garden. You know what that means, Noah?
Why'd you give me my most distracting time?
That's why I specifically got you most effective. Why the garden? Mayor, why the garden?
I don't know.
Good answer. I appreciate it, and I don't know.
I've been with you like 95% of the time.
Yeah, that's cool.
So the world was originally God's garden. It was originally a beautiful place. God said, I'm giving each one of you your own garden. When you take all of your gardens and put them together, you have the world as a beautiful garden. Now, in a garden, you're going to find very interesting things. You can find trees and plants and flowers, butterflies. You can find weeds. You can find scorpions, snakes, birds. In other words, every one of us is given a garden with nice things and not such nice things. We all come into this world to clear your garden. That's the work we need to do ourselves. That's our work. We didn't choose our garden. We didn't choose our garden. Did you get to choose what color eyes you have? How about your DNA structure? You don't pick your DNA structure. You don't pick your mother. You don't pick your father. You don't pick where you were born. You don't get to pick anything. In fact, you don't really get to pick anything in your life other than to accept God's will or not. You know, the most basic thing in the world that we need for existence is air.
Why?
How long could you go without breathing? What's your name?
Amir.
Amir. How long could you live without breathing?
Without breathing?
Without no air?
Oh, like 3 or 5 minutes.
Maybe, right?
I know some people that could like 8 minutes.
8 minutes?
Under the water. 3 to 5, something like that.
Some of these guys smoke so much weed, 30 seconds. That would be the end of it.
That's cool. Yeah, you will die like
Okay, 2-3 minutes, right? Imagine right now if they made an announcement. The angels came down from heaven and said, everyone, God wants to let you know that air has been free long enough. Now you need to pay $1 a minute. That's what it costs to live. You're going to sell your watch? You're going to sell your watch? Your car?
Yes.
Your phone? Everything.
Yeah, because I want to
To live.
Yeah, in
I believe that in this world we live once. I don't know what will be after.
Okay.
It's just imagination and believing. What you believe and what you.
What you know is that we're here now and this is it.
Yeah.
So,
For now.
how much does air cost? Air is free.
Air is free.
It's the most basic necessity we have. When's the last time you woke up and you said, God?
Why they couldn't make the women free?
It's like, what?
Why couldn't they make the wife free?
No. When you get married, you become a balabayat. You know what a balabayat is? Yeah. I'm going to buy it.
Nalabite. You know what is nalabite? Nalabite is
the shoes.
The shoes.
Yeah. So, when is the last time you thanked God for air?
Just now.
Oh, good.
I just started breathing in a lot of air.
We usually
I was
don't
like,
thank
I gotta
God.
get this while I can for free.
We usually don't thank God for the most basic necessities: air, water, food. We take life for granted. We have, unfortunately, what? Yeah. I don't know what you got. So, the Yetzer Hara plays a trick on us. It makes us upset, angry, complain, feel we got screwed when things don't go good for us. But we're not showing the same level of appreciation for the things we have that we didn't deserve.
I heard that you should say this to God. Thank you for everything, even when the bad stuff. He says, I think this is good. Let me show you true good.
100%. 100%. In other words, every one of us has a garden. Noah? No, it's okay.
I'm trying to find shit up. Jewish girl.
Be in the Farbringen and ask while we're together. You say L'chaim to help you find a shidduch. That will help you find more than looking on the phone. L'chaim. L'chaim. What's your name? Your full name is Amir Ben.
Amir Ben Mazal.
Oh wow, Amir Ben Mazal. Hashem should bless you. That you should find your Besher this year. Bezrat Hashem, good news. L'chaim. L'chaim l'rubacha. L'chaim. 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 So, I can tell you, I've been around the world. I've spent time with people worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I've hung out with homeless people. I've seen people get killed. I've seen a lot in my yes. Yeah, for real. Huh? No. Like,
When did you say those stories?
I have. I just said you weren't paying
What
attention.
did they react to? I only heard the 100 million.
Not like overdosing on drugs.
What did you say?
I said I've spent time with people worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and I've spent time with homeless people. I've been around the world, you could say. And I've never met anyone in my life who has not suffered in some capacity. There's no one who God doesn't throw challenges. There's no one who God doesn't make life difficult. Some, it may seem harder than others, no doubt. But there's an old Hasidic saying that if you're sitting around a Hasidic Farbringen, and every person was really open and honest and shared what their real problems are, and said, okay, I'm putting my problems on the table. I'm going to be vulnerable and share with what's going on in my life. And here are all my problems. Everyone would say, you know what? I'm going to take mine back. They're not as bad as I thought they were. Everyone thinks they have the hardest, most difficult, worst life, the hardest parents, the hardest upbringing, the most trauma. And listen, there are people who've been through a lot.
There's gonna be a guy who leaves his stack on the table.
Yeah, could be. But the point is that of the story is that everyone has some level of suffering. No one goes through life on cruise control. It just doesn't exist. It doesn't.
Even in marriage, there's the engagement ring, wedding ring, and the suffering.
That's what they say.
Two rings in the marriage.
And I say that because like Ari's been here a lot recently, right? So when he's at the table, like, come on, my problems.
Yeah, it puts things in perspective.
Are they really like
Correct.
anything?
It puts things in perspective. You're right. But the point of the matter is that everyone has some level of difficulties, challenges, trauma, whatever you want to call it. And the reality of it is that we don't get to pick our garden. One of the biggest challenges, I think, in the world today is that no one is tending their own garden. Everyone is focusing on what everyone else's garden is. We live in a world where everyone is following other people on social media, seeing what everyone else is doing, liking what they're doing. Let me follow this person or whatever. And it's like,
wanted to see it. Okay, so everyone else was like,
After 120 years, no one cares who you followed. No one cares who you admired or looked up to or whose life you thought was so wonderful. Doesn't matter. All that matters is here's the garden God gave you. And what did you do to be God's partner to make your garden a little bit more beautiful than what it was you were given? That's what our mission is. We each have to say, if I focus on the snakes and the scorpions and the weeds and the dirt in my garden, I'll find it and more will keep coming. Or I could try to focus on the flowers, the plants, the trees, the butterflies, and do what I can to increase that good, to find a way to make it a little bit better. And at the same time, be a little bit observant of my neighbors' gardens too. Not because I'm jealous of them, but because I want to help them as well. Because if my garden is pretty, but my neighbors' gardens are all not so nice, the neighborhood, the block doesn't look so good. So I need to help them. But if I spend all my time, which is also an addiction, helping other people with their garden while mine is rotting away, it's escaping. That's not helping me. So it's a balance. The balance is working to tend to our garden, helping others. What was it?
I learned that it says
Yeah.
so they can point out, just like you told your friend, you're addicted to weed. He's like, I'm not. And you're like, you are. They won't, because they won't realize without the outside observer.
That's correct. Because it's very hard to see on your own. We all have blind spots. It's blind spots. Take care, brother. Good job. Oh, very interesting. All right, we can.
I thought I took care of it. I was like, I wasn't even close.
We
I didn't know until I was 25 and then at 30. I took ayahuasca.
Well, what are you doing?
But that's a blessing.
I have 75% of the books I have.
It's a blessing. I've done it as well. It's a blessing because it opens things up to allow you to see it. It acts as that a little bit of like the so to speak, who's letting you know what's going on so you can deal with it.
I was out the whole time during the trip.
You did it here or you were overseas? Nice.
That was my 4.5 month exile in Brazil.
Yeah, I got a job today.
Self-imposed exile.
Yeah, in a sense, but I was running from something like
Good paying job.
I was in physical.
Paying job.
Wow. Oh, wow.
I get paid.
But that's smart. Sometimes you need to. Sometimes it's a basic concept in any type of self-help. First step is to become safe. And if you're around toxic people, even if they're family members, and they're making your life, even if they're not intending to do it, you need to separate. You need to separate. You need to find a safe place, get well, and when you're ready, you can re-engage. Correct. Sure. You can't give what you don't have.
Are we doing a bonfire tonight? Because we always talk about a topic.
We could. You guys could crank it up if you want. Go for it. Sure.
That's why you do a bonfire when it's cold.
Dove, he wants to do a fire. Are things set up out there? Wood matches.
Perfect.
48 degrees right now. It feels like
I thought it was bonfire.
That's why we need a fire.
If you start catching the place on fire, the guy with the black jacket will help you.
Matches. I loved your tour so far.
Thank you.
I just want to say, like, everything that you said has really touched me. There was a point early on, something you said made me cry. Brought tears to my eyes.
Thank you for sharing.
It was when
That's all the wood you need.
Avram, you were talking about your side of someone who has that.
Yeah.
I just heard so much about this in this person, right? And you were telling me a lot about, or telling us about how you hated the Rebbe at first.
Yeah.
And these pictures and stuff. Like, who is this guy? And like, for me, I don't want any hatred in my body.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
Because the only person that suffers is ourselves.
I'm like, get out of my body. Whenever
Sure.
I feel mad at somebody, I'm like, get that out of my body.
Good for
and
you.
I try to get it out of my body, right? And it usually works when I'm mindful about it, right? And I'm not like, oh, let me figure out what to do to plot against this person. I'm more mindful. I'm like, let me get that feeling.
Good for you.
That's something I learned early on in life. But
Martin, you out of here?
I was like,
I was gonna go help with the.
Oh, cool. No, it's all good. I was wondering if you're leaving. I was just saying goodbye. I'm going to come out in a minute.
I got that feeling, and I'm like, I want to get that out of my body, right? And I got it out, but I'm like, where did that come from? I started asking myself, I'm like, where did that even come from? And I know it's coming from like, I miss my brother, and I want everyone to talk about my brother like they talk about the Rebbe. And I want everyone to be
That's
like,
very
yo,
sweet.
it's the Rebbe's your type. It's Aaron's your type. You know what I mean?
That's beautiful, by the way.
That's how I just felt, and I was just, I'm not really genuinely, because I really, and the reason it left my body is because I realized I'm not genuinely mad.
Right.
I'm not mad at.
That's amazing insight that you were able to identify that that's where that was coming from. Good for you.
To get over it.
Good for you. Most people have no concept. They hold on to that anger, and there's no rational reason for it, and they create reasons as to why they're angry, and they're not the real reasons, and they just stay angry. So, l'chaim to you for that. That was very nice. So we just finished up, and then we could go outside and chill by the fire. So that's the idea, guys. Yud Shevat is coming up, and it's time really to connecting to the Rebbe means to connect to ourselves, because he's what we call the Yechida Klalit. He's the general soul of the generation, just like Moses was. And our souls are connected in that level, just like we're connected to God. And the Rebbe loves and cares for each one of us unbelievably, just like Hashem does. And he wants us to feel that love and that amazing feeling and not that anger. So by connecting, by doing our mission, the Rebbe said the main mission is what we call iskafia and hapcha. First thing to do is the things that are not good for you, just push them away. Even if they're tempting, whatever that is, they're not kosher food, whatever it is, breaking Shabbat, just push it away. No brain, no logic, just get rid of it. And then ultimately, you go to the next level, which is you start transforming and you start actually enjoying the process, right? There's actually a joy in serving Hashem, in keeping Shabbos and keeping kosher and doing and feeling in your being like, I'm doing what God wants me to do. And that's, in a way, the highest pleasure that there is.
That was from the Chassidus, they said that a person can only have a certain amount of pleasure. Like there's a certain quota. And if they use it for physicality, all of it for physicality, there won't be anything left for spirituality.
Interesting.
So like someone says, oh, I don't get any pleasure from learning, I don't get any pleasure from dominating, any pleasure from this. You're so engulfed in the furious and the physical, overindulged that they used it up. But I don't know if that's true or not.
It's less that they used it up and more that they blocked themselves from feeling the deeper pleasure. Yeah, it's so covered up. They can't. It says that if our souls were really able to feel the pleasure, every time you put on tefillin or gave a tzedakah, your soul would leave your body because it would be the most pleasurable thing. The pleasures of the soul are infinitely higher than the pleasures of the body, but they block the pleasures of the soul.
I learned about that a little bit when you don't put the filling on at certain times. Why don't you? I was like, why am I? They're telling me I can't put my filling on. I love putting my filling on. Like I get my pleasure spiritually through putting my filling on, right? So like, how the heck is this a thing? They're telling me this is a holy holiday. You need to get the
pleasure from the holiday. Sure.
That you get, like that fire. Like a rabbi told me once, the fire you get from putting your tefillin on, like, and you can't put your tefillin on Shabbat. Because I was mad. I'm like, Rabbi, like, I put tefillin. You told me to get into the tefillin, right? And now you tell me one day I can't do the tefillin. And I'm like, you're out of
because you're connected at a higher level. What's up, brother? Well, Hashem, good. L'chaim. Hashem should bless us all to be connected to Hashem, connected to the Rebbe, connected to ourselves, connected to Gula. L'chaim the Racha. Good Shabbos. God bless you.